Uh, Information security, sometimes abbreviated to InfoSec. Basically, that set up the practices. The setup the practices intended to keep data secure from unauthorized access or alterations. See why. Okay, your audio is muted. Okay, no problem. We'll enable your audio in between. We will talk to each other whenever we require some information. So coming to the security triad CIA, which we are learning about confidentiality, integrity, and availability with examples. And before going that, we need to understand information security is generally we all called in short form InfoSec, is basically the set of practices intended to keep your data secure from unauthorized access or alterations. Let's say when we do copy, when we completed our work, like in a project proposal, we enable password even though we are storing our own system, because somebody may access our system remotely and can steal that document file. Even so, for extra care, what we do that we also enable a strong password to the document and store, even in case they were somebody stolen that particular data, because without knowing that particular password they cannot open it. Of course there are tools are there, and maybe whether that kind of knowledge is there or not, we don't know. So that is where to increase the security based on the requirement of your thing. Why we need to secure, how do we need to secure, that is where we called these are the practices which you are following to keep our data secure from unauthorized users is nothing but infosec practices. So wherever you are storing, when it's being stored and when it's being transmitted from one machine to other machine, so generally we called it as a data at rest, data at data on move. Otherwise, data at rest means wherever you are storing in your computer, that particular document is stored in your particular storage or computer or USB device, is that a data at rest. But when you are forwarding this file to email, through chat, through some other applications, so the data is moving from your computer to another computer. Am I right? So that is where it is data on move. So you need to secure when data is on rest and when data is on move also. So you need to practice to secure that particular document at data at rest and data at move. You might sometimes see it referred to as a data security. Am I right? So because ultimately you are securing the data, so that is called as a data security. But security should be taken as a balance between protection and availability. You want to secure everything, that does mean that encrypt it and store it. Until you give this availability whom intended, that means the availability of the document is required to whomever their authorized persons, you need to give it. At the same time, you need to protect from the unauthorized users. So we need to achieve this balance definitely. Okay. The information security refers to the process. See, the first point which I told is as the practices. Now I am telling that it is also refers to the processes and methodologies are designed and implemented to protect your information. Either it is a printed information, electronic information, or any other form of confidential, private, sensitive information or data from unauthorized access, use, misuse, disclosure, destruction, modification, whatever the words you say, that somebody is destroying the data, modifying the data, destructing the data, or disclosing this data to somebody else who are not unauthorized, or misusing, copying your data and claiming this data as his own data. All these are all kind of attacks on your data or your information. So you need to protect from All these kind of unauthorized access, misuse, disclosure, distraction, modification, disruption, all the things are there. I hope you are understanding my point. The fundamental principles of information security are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is what we call it as a CIA. So the fundamental principles or fundamental tenets of information security are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Every element of an information security program, like every security control put in place by an entity, which does mean, and designed to achieve one or more principles, what we mentioned now, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Together, they are all called the CIA triad. CIA triad. C ani confidentiality, I integrity, A and availability. So now, if you look into that, the critical characteristics of this information security refers to the process and methodology designed and implemented to protect the print, electronic, or any other form of confidential, private, and sensitive information, as we discussed it. And your from where to protect how the data from unauthorized access, unauthorized use, otherwise misusing, disclosing, destruction, modification, or disruption. Any distracted words, you can say that you need to protect from that. So the information security, the principles are availability, confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation and authenticity. But we generally discuss about that the triad CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. However, non-repudiation and authenticity are supporting principles. Now coming to that, critical characteristics of information. Data communication refers to the transmission of the digital data between two entities or two computers on internet or network. Suppose if you are sending an email message from your computer to any other computer in the internet, is we called it as a communication between those two computers. Because the data is transmitting, we call it as a data communication. Communication between computer is almost serial. What does mean serial? Serial means one another, like we stand in queue while voting in the election, no? One by one after another. Similarly, the data is also transmitted one after another, one packet by another packet, one after another. It travels from one computer to another computer. I think communication between these computers, the basically uses a common protocol suite. Let's say for the time being, the internet, 99% of the internet users uses TCP/IP transmission control, yani internet protocol, transmission control protocol / internet protocol suite. They generally uses is nothing but the suite is a set of communication protocols which use it by computers to communicate on internet. TCP refers, as I said, transmission control protocol, and IP refers to an internet protocol. It allows computers to send and receive information in form of data packets. The data packets transmitted in serial. So using a network connection, including connecting to the internet, computers connect to each other to transmit data between them and communicates with others using the TCP/IP or internet protocol. There are different types of security attacks even affect this communication process from one computer to another computer, because uh, There are by default vulnerabilities or gap areas in the implementation of these communication protocols. Now, as we seen in the previously, the data is transmitting from one computer to another computer. Now, here that interruption was done by somebody. That interruption is also called as an attack. One of the attack type is due to the obstruction of any kind during the communication process between these two systems. So the systems which are used become unusable after this attack by the unauthorized users, which results in the wastage of system. Anybody can say that the systems, why they were unusable or not available if somebody interrupting the system? Anybody wanted to given a yes, I'm enabling to you your audio. Mr. Naresh, CVRDE, you please enable audio.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So it is denial of service.
Yes, denial of service is a very good example. Why? Because if somebody is doing a denial of service attack, what is exactly denial of service attack? Let's say an example in the sense of common example which we discuss now. Suppose if you are using Gmail ID, anybody is using Gmail ID, they can type their Gmail ID. Any one member, if they wanted to share their Gmail ID with me, let me share. And even though all are we are government official, we'll keep your communication and we never share your Gmail ID to any other member. If anybody wanted to give your Gmail ID, if you wanted to give it, please type in chat box.
Sir, we received one email ID in the chat box.
Pardon me?
We received one email ID, sir, from chat box. I am just spelling out. It is bagrap DAG
Oh,
RAKB.
I'm not able to see that chat. Your voice is not
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
coming
can.
chat.
I'm just copy pasting to you.
Just type to me. Copy and paste to me. Let's say, yeah, yes, I think Vijay shared with me in a Gmail ID, and even though Mr. Bagra KB shared with me. See, when I see this email ID, I can recognize you all. One member as an a Vijay, another member is as an a Bagra. So what I can do that if I wanted to play with you, I can give it any kind of a different 5 different passwords which I got in my mind and I type and give it. See, just simply open in a gmail.com and give your email ID and whatever the 5 passwords I am getting, what happens is in generally that happens because of the it's like in a because 5 different passwords, so it is like a malpracticing of the your user ID against the passwords against to the your respective user ID. So what happens? So automatically your Gmail would be locked. Am I right? For Gmail would be locked. Of course, you have kept some good security system. If anybody such thing happens, you can reset back by giving your mobile number because you are attached to your mobile number, or otherwise whenever you wanted to log in, that you should get the permissions. So when I give in different 5 passwords, so what happens? It's locks, and when locks, and the respective user may be resetting the password. But remember here, for resetting the password, it may take at least 1 minute or 1 or 2 minutes. Am I right? So, but I'm writing a script, and every minute I'm running the script that open in a browser command and given a user ID and given a different password from my database, whatever that have, so that your account would be locked within 1 minute. So once it is locked, again you have to get into that, reset into, but it's almost it's an impossible thing to reset every time, getting in OTP and reset the password. Definitely takes 1 minute. By the 1 minute you password reset, second minute it is a locked. So that what happened here, I'm not allowing you to access your own Gmail ID. Am I right? Even though you are the owner, you are not able to access that because I am denying that service. Simply I am denying only by myself only to your Gmail ID, that is called as the denial of service. If I am writing this script from the different IP addresses and asking them to done every minute one by one, that is called as the denial of service, because the ultimate goal is that reset the password locking. In the technical terms, if you look into that, a server is hosting an application which is with 4 GB RAM, and to run that server, minimum 2 GB is required, and based on the load, it can take up to the 4 GB. Once 4 GB filled up, that server will restart. So what I do that, I'll continuously send as many as requests to that particular web server. That web server that is also from different places, different clients at a time. If I'm accessing that server, so that 4 GB RAM is fills up, because as many as connections are established to the server, so the server automatically restarts. When it is up, it takes almost 2 to 3 minutes. So by the 2 to 3 minutes, the second minute we will send as many as requests again, so that server again restarts. When server is again and again restart, when will it give that actual service to the user? So that service may not be available fully to the user. So this is the kind of denial of service attack, and this is the kind of interruption which we can do that. Now come to this case, you are part of in this interruption which we are talking about. So you are a user, you want to access a particular website from your organization to outside, but your organization is not allowing use other than your official mail ID. You cannot use any other email IDs. This principle, this is the part of the process or part of the policy of your organization. Even when you are trying to open gmail.com from your organization, that request will go to that server or firewall, and firewall drops that communication. Instead of that, it will open your actual your company's email website rather than Gmail website and or any other private email access. So what happens? It is also interrupting the your communication which you want to do with Gmail. Your company is not allowing. So the interruption means that service of Gmail is not available to your organization. So that is where we look into that. It's the interruption. So for any information system to serve its purpose, the information must be available when it is needed. So this is what kind of problem? This is the availability problem. This is coming. So it is an availability problem. So whatever you want to access, you are not able to access that particular information from your organization. You want to access Gmail, but your company is interrupted that communication, not allowing you to access Gmail. So that is where availability, so the information system, to serve its purpose, the information must be available when it is needed. This means the computing system used to store and process the information, the security controls used to protect it. And because your organization is protecting with some security control like a firewall, if anybody wanted to access any other email ID, because of the organization policy, we should stop it. They can only access the company's or organizational email ID. So, and the communication channels used to access this must be functioning correctly. So this is the availability problem. Then what is exactly you required? You required a backup. So you wanted to access Gmail from your organization. What exactly? You need to use your personal device. If you wanted to communicate with your Gmail, personal device can be utilized because you cannot access Gmail email IDs from your office. So maybe your mobile is allowed. You can access through your mobile internet and access your Gmail. So actually, the realm of information security availability can often be viewed as one of the most important parts of successful information security program. So everybody thinks that availability is the least when you are comparing with the confidentiality and integrity, because when it is security matters, so confidentiality and integrity is better choices than availability. But when the information is not available for an indented user, why we required the in the case of the business example, you wanted to sell something, that selling information should be available in the internet. No, what you wanted to sell it. Otherwise, you can't do business. So availability of information is must to do your business. So availability is also is very much important. The most important parts of successful information security program. Ultimately, end users need to be able to perform job functions by ensuring the availability of an organization is able to perform to the standards that an organization's stakeholders, users are expect when we are talking about the business functions. Business means here it's not only like an Amazon or a stock business. Your organization, your functions should run as much as and get a bigger success in this. So generally, most of them do not understand the technical side of information security and look at availability as an easy fix. But this often requires collaboration from many different organizational teams, such as the network operations, development operations, incident response, and policy management. Because the policy is that to keep security as much as your information, your copyrights, you are not allowing the private emails. Anything you do as part of your business, you only the business email ID. So that is what policy team also is required. A successful security team involves many different key roles to mesh and align for an CI tried and to be provided effectively. So availability, the probability that item will be an operable and committable state at the start of a mission when the mission is called for a random time and is generally defined as an uptime divided by total time. So now looking about the so normal flow, again I came to back by which we already discussed about the availability. Now I'm going towards the confidentiality. So data communication again refers to the transmission of digital data between two or more computers. The physical connection between, even though they are apart from cities, but that a kind of a networked computing devices established using either cable media or wireless media, and they are always connected. When they connected to each other, so basically the confidentiality, the information had confidentiality when it is protected from disclosure or exposure to unauthorized individuals or systems. It ensures only those with the rights and privileges can access information and can do something on that. That means, so if anything you are information, that information is intended to a particular user, so the particular user only can access and can do anything on the information based on the controls what he can do. That a document can be written, a document can be read, the document can be updated, modified. So based on that, such kind of requirements, the user ID who can access the document can avail. So the value of the confidentiality of information is incredibly high when it is the personal information about employees, customers, or patients. Let's take example of your organization, your ministry itself. If I go there to one of the ministry website, I can see what kind of salaries you are drawing from based on that your employment. So, but this information is made it mandatory as a government that this information can be availed to the public, that what kind of, because that is a vigilance part they were hosting. But when you are looking about the security point of view, so I can understand how much money is drawn, and somewhere I can, through other techniques, I can find out your mobile also. So a mobile number, a salaried information, and maybe with your Facebook and other activities, I may try to understand your behavior. Based on the behavior, I understand what kind of interests you have. So based on the interest, I try to formulate a kind of an attack on you, so that immediately you will click my link. Once you click the link, there could be a software which would be installed in your mobile, like an app. So you know that no apps will ask you the permissions to see your contacts, to your SMS, to see your photos. Every app is asking everything, so that every app knows your information. If they intended to see that information in the virtue of your app requirement, so definitely they can see the information. One night in the morning after your sleep, when you get up in the morning, you have seen a message that there is a 30,000 rupees drawn from your ATM card. You never given anything, any card. You never given any OTP, even the card is missed somewhere. Your OTP was not given, but the OTP they can see because of that app application or the link which you clicked. Sorry. So that information they were able to see in the night, whatever the OTP came, that OTP they were given and drawn the money, transfer the money. So confidentiality, to protect the confidentiality of the information, we can use a number of measures. So like information classification. If it is you are part of the defense organization, the information which you are transmitting, when there is no security, information security, ITC environment is not there, also you manage it. That Ministry of Defense people are managed how to classify the information, and they were successfully implemented. But the same thing when it is coming to the ICT environment, this information classification is always helps to protect our information. The second point is secure document storage. They always use the protected, the very protected environment by keeping strong and easily remember passwords and encrypt the communication. And the third point is application of general security policies, where they will look into that each and every device has their importance and what the policy it should follow. And of course, education and awareness very much important to take care of these activities. The training which we will get it when before joining in any organization is one kind of awareness. So confidentially, like most of the characteristics of the information is interdependent with only characteristics and is most closely related to the characteristics known as a privacy. The value of the confidentiality of information is incredibly high when it is personal information. If you look into about this picture, when you are transmitting your information one computer to another computer, if third party and this guy is able to see your information. So what it means? So that the information can be breached to the third party, and this third party can breach can sell as much as many members based on the importance of the data. So as a consumer, that is where you need to look into that. And if you look into that, the confidentiality is basically limits the access to the information. What exactly does confidentiality property? It limits the access to the information. Whom it limits? Whomever the authorized. Let's say if in our organization 100 people are working, and the information should be only to the CEO and respective technical team of 5 members. So that document should be available with only CEO and that 5 members team who is working on that. That means out of these 100 members, only 6 members, you need to limit that access to the information. What technology they generally use it? They encrypt it with a strong password, and only that password will be shared along with the 6 members, not other 94 members. So basically, that is where we will implement the confidentiality and the integrity, by using encryption technologies to protect our data. Now we look into that. The third property is basically the modification attacks involve tampering of our asset. The previous case, what is that? Whatever the information you are passing through in a network or from one computer to another computer, if somebody is able to see, there is no confidentiality. Here is what in this attack in generally, modification attack involve tampering with our asset. Some data is there, or other on behalf of somebody, they will send the information. Let's you are recently looking about some emails, lottery emails, bank emails, where bank never sends, and there is no such lottery, or there is no participation in such lottery, but you will get in a lottery of that particular that you won. So this kind of modification attacks are involve more tampering of a particular bank website, or look like they made it in a look like website, and they're tampering the data of a particular lottery guy where they will forward to you. So such kind of attacks we generally consider as an integrity attack. So it is like integrity, when you are in a, even though not in a bank user ID, so the bank is sending emails means what? As in you are the customer of the bank. So there is no integrity. If you access a file in an unauthorized manner and alter the data it contains, so we have affected the integrity of the data contained in the file. So sometimes generally the papers or white papers they will write by copying it to somebody's actual paper. You may be changing from your own way and you are submitting. So these are all called as based on the integrity attacks. So as the name indicates that the message which is sent by a sender is modified and sent to the destination by unauthorized user. So let's say simply we are explaining this. If a guy is sending a message to hi to this guy, but however this man in the middle person, the hi message would be converted into hello and delivered to this person. And this person thinks that this guy was sent basically hello message rather than hi message. So that is where the attacks can be modified and you can mimic it. So your lottery emails, your whatever that income tax refunds, all emails is under integrity modification attacks will come. So modification is the act or result of modifying or being modified while fabrication and fabrication of an email of a particular lottery, particular product. Generally, we call it as the act of fabricating, framing, or constructing and manufacturing. As the name indicates, the message which is sent by the sender is modified and sent to the destination by unauthorized user. That means the third party red guy. The integrity of this message is lost by the type of attack. The receiver cannot receive exact message which sent by the source, which results in the poor performance of the network. Integrity requires that modification when you are talking about that. So it can be happen at writing level, changing status level, deleting and creating, or even the creating level also. So in lay uses, information has integrity when it is timely, accurate, complete, and consistent. If any data which you are receiving, which is accurate, complete, and consistent, can be called as the integrity is 100% integrity is there. However, computers are unable to provide to or protect all these qualities. Therefore, in the computer security field, integrity is often discussed more narrowly as having data integrity and system integrity. So data integrity is the requirement that information and programs are changed only in a specified and unauthorized manner, where system integrity is the requirement of the system performs its intended functions. Suppose let's say there is an antivirus and that antivirus is not working properly. There are a lot of viruses can come into your picture, your system, and that those would be affected of your system performance. So there is no proper condition that the system is performing fully as per their resources. So that means, so there is if it is that is not happening, there is a problem with integrity of that system, whether it works or not works. And data is, if the data is clean, modified, clean and accurate, complete and consistent, along with the timely delivery to the respective user. So if you are sent an email, that email should reach within 1 minute, but the email not came even though after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So there is it could be a delay of the network where there is no proper integrity, or it could be a data, somebody changing that email and again deliver. So that's what is taking a delay time to the recipient. So this data security and system, data integrity and system integrity are, these two things are very much important while we are looking into that. So what is that integrity? Is integrity mainly is talking about the assurance to the information. The information assurance is there. So whatever the data received is right information. That assurance is must for all stakeholders while doing their business activity, like buying the Amazon product, which is assured delivery with as per they said. So there is a integrity on Amazon. When it confirms, it delivers in time. Like in the IT ICT security also, whatever the information which we are giving in the Amazon gives an assurance to that information protection of your individuals not to share with anybody. So what kind of technologies they will use? Hashing. When it is in a confidentiality, the technologies are encryption technologies. When availability, the technology you need to use as a backup. When it is integrity, hashing is very much important. It can prevent unauthorized subjects from modifying information. So hash whatever the information, let's say hi message when you are sending, it would be hashed and delivered to others. You should check that hash with a similar. So that same unique number, whatever that I am also getting as a sender and receiver also is getting the same, then we can say that there is no such kind of attack on integrity. It's came with 100% integrity. Maybe as example, if you are considering, you might have downloaded some files. When they downloaded some files, especially operating system and applications, they may be giving an MD5 checksum. And after downloading, if you check in a MD5 section, that should similar whatever the MD5 checksum message is there in the download section which you downloaded, that after downloading and applying that MD5 hash, and same MD5 hash should come, so that in between nobody is downloaded. Why they are giving? See, because that kind of information, when they posting in the website as a download, even though third party also can download and keep it their website to download and market it. Let's say example, some software is required. That website is also giving the link, and you may get third party links also. When third party links, maybe they might have added some data which that main website they were taken and they are hosting. In between, there could be some modification with respect to that original file. So that is where you need to check this hash values as an integrity part and do that. So what we learned today, CIA कॉन्फिडेंशियल के लिए आपको इंक्रिप्शन टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए, इंटीग्रिटी के लिए हैशिंग टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए, एंड अवेलेबिलिटी के लिए यू रिक्वायर्ड है ना बैकअप थिंग्स आर चाहिए. So I think this encryption, hashing, and that how to back up you will learn in the second day and third day. Third day especially you will learn these classes and definitely understand the concepts of the what do you mean by encryption, what do you mean by hashing. But by this time you please note it down. Integrity, the solutions can be hashing solution, confidentiality, encryption solutions, availability, backup solutions. Now we look into that. The confidentiality and basically integrity and availability. This is the CA triad, but there is a DAT triad also along with that. What do you mean by DAT triad? That we will learn today. As you know, that confidentiality refers to the situation where all information exchange is done at the highest possible confidence to only the required people. There can be more than one level of confidence, like a open to public, need to know, secret, top secret, etc. How we maintaining a files at our ministry level. So something need to know basis, secret, top secret. So only the top secret, top 2 people, 3 people maybe knowing that. Secret, only the setup people who are designed and developed that, and who has to know that particular information, that is need to know information. Confidentiality does not just include only 2 people, but deals with whether the giving party and the receiving party trust each other. The trusting is important and they need to be trusted, and there needs to know the information as well. When confidentiality is not followed, it is considered as an unauthorized disclosure. That's what the opposite word of the confidentiality, which we generally called, is the disclosure. If an information you are disclosing, no confidentiality. And if your confidentiality is maintained with respect to that information, there is no disclosure. So that is where we need to look at, there is a relation between confidentiality and disclosure. So now integrity. By integrity, we mean that the data is accurate at best and does not change during the transmission, during that particular transmission, or after reading that, after that reaching that information. Suppose there are party checks, error checks, and various other methods are used for maintaining this integrity of the data. When data transmitted does not reach the destination in a secure manner and source changes, we called it is as an altered data, so which is more or less useless, because we always expect the data should be integrated data, whatever we are receiving. And if you feel that the data is tampered by somebody in between while transmitting, so you may not believe, you may not trust that data. Am I right? So that's what we call it as, even though you received the data, when there is no integrity, we may say that it is in a useless. So integrity is basically the data should be maintained in a correct state and nobody should be able to improperly modify it, either accidentally or maliciously. The ATM and bank software enforce the data integrity by ensuring that any transfers or withdrawals made via the machine are reflected to the accounting for the user's bank account. Am I right? If you are taking a money from an ATM account, even though you are not going to a bank ATM, which is your not own bank, like you don't have an account on that bank. Let's say, example, I'm having an account in SBI, but I can draw from ICS Bank ATM. Still, the data would be updated within minutes in your account that you have drawn 10,000 rupees from ATM. That is what the integrity. Even though you have taken the money in a confidentiality bank, ICICI Bank, by having SBI bank card, while withdrawing money, so the money was reflected to your account. It shows the integrity of the data, how these banks are working. And of course, you need what you can that bank ATM pin and ATM. Until your ATM card, you are having ATM card and you doesn't have pin, you cannot do the transaction. That is where it is like a more adding the security, authentication and authorization, which supports the integrity also. So while confidentiality versus disclosure, integrity versus alteration, then when it is coming to the availability, it's a versus a destruction. So authorized users should be able to access data whenever they need to do so. The ATM machine provides availability because it's a public place and accessible even when the bank branch is closed. So the way you want to take money in the midnight 12 o'clock for any urgency, so there is no need of bank. Even the bank closes, you can go to any ATM. Not only your bank ATM, any bank ATM you can go and that is what the availability. And on that you need to enable the cyber security, like in a confident you have to authentication authorization. Intended users only can access it. I'm saying even if you're using your spouse's card and spouse's PIN, it is illegal as per the bank terms and conditions. So availability, the way we provide data to required audience, in general, data is required to be provided on 24/7 by 365 basis. How an ATM works, ATM is available for drawing money and putting the money in the bank account. Availability of data must conform to integrity and confidentiality as well. So when the requested data is not available, we can assume it was either destroyed or became stale or corrupted. So when there is no availability, we can say that it is destroyed. So this can happen naturally when a media or data, where data is stored, is destroyed or corrupted, or even when we lose a reading medium for the stored data. For example, if you no longer have a video cassette player to play an important video clip stored in a tape, the entire tape can be considered useless. So you have a CD, but you don't have a CD driver. What is the use of the data? The data is not available and it is useless through the data and it may still be intact. Some companies and entities also refer to the destruction principle as a denial. So that's what we also look about, that confidentiality of information, which is against to the disclosure of the information. So integrity of a data is opposite to the alteration of the data, as with both. Similarly, availability is the against to the destruction. Destruction is against to the availability. So example, when you are taking example, which we already discussed, only authorized users and process will be able to access or modify data. Consider the example of ATM bank, any bank ATM, which can offer users access to bank balances and other information. It provides confidentiality by requiring two-factor authentication, that both physical card and PIN code, before allowing access to your money or data. Much of what lay people think of as a cybersecurity, essentially anything that restrict access to data, falls under the duplicate of confidentiality. This includes information security's two big A's. That is nothing but authentication. Authentication is when encompasses process what allows system to determine if a user is who they say they are, and authorization, which determines who has the right to access which data. Just because the system knows who you are, it doesn't necessarily open all its data for your pursuit. Like that, if when you are in organization, you are doing one activity and authorized to that activity, that means you are only allowed to do that activity. It doesn't mean that you can access each and everybody's data you can access in that organization. So that is where authorization, authentication are very much important principles to support the CI two-factor, multi-factor authentication. See, we look about this one case study, and I'll try to close this session by discussing this study. An organization decided to store all information, all customer data, which is critical on CDs, DVDs as a backup, and kept it original data in some hard disk of available machines during the time of between 2005 and 2010. However, due to space limitation, the organization decided that the old computers are discarded, because whatever the machines which are using at that time, 2005, 2010, which are having CD drives and all, may not have at this time. They were already discarded long back in 2012, 10 and 11 itself. So when the technology changed, the company started storing the data on a secure cloud. Now from then onwards, they were using the secure cloud, and they are keeping every information on the secure cloud at this moment. During a routine cleanup and cleanup 10 years later, one employee found this many hard disks, CDs, DVDs, but by then there was no technology available to the organization to read what was on the CD, DVD, hard disk. Moreover, no one responsible at this moment, and those who know what was on the disk were no longer working in the organization, because they were taken backup and updated in the cloud. Everybody is accessing through cloud. So nobody bothered about this information stored in hard disk and CD-ROM drives, unable to read. Finally, the company decided to just discard these disks in the trash. Unfortunately, someone digging in the trash found the disk, and with the help of an old disk reader, was able to get some older personally identifiable information, credit cards, to exploit and cause damage to the clients. In disposing of the disk in the trash without proper distraction, what factor of the CIDDA tried can the credit company the best said to have violated? So by having this kind of story, what your point of view, what factor of the CIDDA tried can be credit card company be best said to have violated? So that is was question, whether it is a confidentiality, distraction, identification, availability. Now looking about the analysis, note that but main point of that organization is just throw away confidential data without destroying the media. So if a media is unreadable, it should be physically destroyed. Am I right? Or even burned to avoid losing confidential data to the third party persons. So the question basically is asking what factor was violated. Maybe the statement and question can be further revisited and rewritten as follows. During the CD, DVD evolution era, an organization decided to store all its customer data on CD, DVD. The life of CD, DVD hard disk cannot be read these disks due to the various reasons. But without looking and estimating such possible incidents and present situation, the company decided to just discard this disk in the trash. So by disposing of the disk in the trash without proper destruction, what factor of the CA DEDA tried can the credit card company the best said to be violated? So this may be the question can be changed as a disposing the disk of the trash without proper destruction. What factor of the CD? See, obviously option C is wrong because identification is not. Why C is wrong? Is not a factor of either the CIA or DDA, because the case study is they were saying that what kind of violation with respect to CIA DAD. When you are talking about the CDAA, maybe you are related, but identification is not a related factor. So straight away we can remove that C is not right. And so option D, because when the company threw out the disk, they made the disk available to anyone, not only the bank users. So they made it available to anyone. So that is where option D is also not wrong. Option B is what the company decided not to do, but reality they should have. See, they should do. See, so it is wrong to. They have to do restriction, but they didn't do that restriction. So that is where option B is not right. So when you're looking into this analysis, when three or items are not there, then what is the last one? So simply because the company backed the medium or method to read the disk, because they have found that everything on cloud, so they simply thrown this disk and they violated the confidentiality of the data by making available entire data to everybody in the internet. So does not mean that they can simply throw the disk away without proper destruction. Thus the correct answer option is A. So note that if the question asks what factor the company made sure in the CI/DDA trades, then the answer is option D. So they made sure available to this data everybody. That's the availability. So the way of the questions you are looking into that answer should be corrected. So along with beyond the CA trade, so there is a Don Parker proposed a six-sided model. Six-sided this model along with the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, authenticity, possessions or control, utility also very much important, because these following principles are very important, because it's a somewhat open to question whether the extra 3 points really press into the new territory. Utility and possession could be lumped under availability, for instance, but it's worth noting as an alternative model. A final important principle of information security that doesn't fit nearly into the CI trade is non-repudiation, which essentially means that someone cannot falsely deny that they are created, altered, observed, or transmitted data. So somebody cannot claim, falsely deny. Once they were sending after sending an email to a particular user, they can't deny it. This is a crucial in legal context when, for instance, someone might need to prove that a signature is accurate or that a message was sent by the person whose name is on it. The CI trade is not be all and end all, but it's a valuable tool for planning your InfoSec strategy. By looking into the authenticity, there are two mechanisms which we have seen that is also available. Of course, this case study was taken from the 70 tips and tricks for master the CISP examination. And with this, if we have any kind of questions, let me know that, and if I request Mr. Naresh to enable them to speak with me, or otherwise they can type. The questions which I can answer.
all the muted. Can you please speak?